Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Ximena Sariñana y un saludo muy grande para Gozamos y Beat Latino.
Hi, welcome back to day 2 of the LAMC. We're here with Ximena Sariñana. Very excited to see her for many reasons. One, because we love her music at Gozamos and Beat Latino. But secondly, because she's actually visiting us in Chicago, July 23rd at Metro and Lollapalooza. So one of the only 4 Latin artists and the only one from Mexico. So Ximena, qué gusto de tenerte aquí. Thank you for visiting with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So it's tell us a little bit about. Did you grow up with music? I know that we kind of knew you more as an actress.
Yeah.
And novelas. So tell us a little bit, did you start acting and always want to do music and then move into music? Or was it like, tell us just how did you come to do both of those things, which are very unusual?
Well, music and acting were always hand in hand in my life. I mean, I would always collaborate in soundtracks or I would do, the first thing that I did was musical theater when I was growing up, and I was always, music was always a big part of my life. I just hadn't embraced it as maybe pursuing it in like a more independent and unique way as it is to be a songwriter. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I was like 15 or 16 years old that I really decided that I wanted to study it and that I was going to maybe, pursue making a record someday. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of like how it happened. And I just finally, when I was 20 years old, I'd made my first record, which is Mediocre, that came out in 2008. And now I'm promoting my second record, which is going to come out August 2nd.
August 2nd. Now tell us a little bit then about the transition between these two records or these two sets of recordings. What can we look forward to?
Well, this new record is very special because I sort of changed it all up. I went from being in a Mexican record label, which was Warner Mexico, into an international record label, or an American record label, which is Warner Music, Warner Brothers, which is USA. And I did my second record in English. It's mostly in English with one song in Spanish, and and it's just a whole different set of audience, a whole different set of a new industry and new people that I've been working with.
Now, were you thinking of that as you composed, that it was going to be a different audience, or was it just
Well, I did think about it because when they proposed to me this idea of making a record in another language, well, I had nothing really written for it, so I had to really start from scratch and just write stuff for it.
Now, what's the difference? What have you found as a difference in terms of composing in Spanish and English? Have you noticed yourself changing the topics or changing? Give us not
really topics, but definitely. I mean, when you write in another language or when you write in English or versus Spanish, well, they have it's like writing with painting with two different sets of colors or different types of of paintings, and it was it was great to write in English. It's just I think it brings out different ways of saying things in one language versus the other one, and I love both languages, and I wish that I could keep writing in both of them.
Now, but you made a choice specifically to start in Spanish because that was what flowed most naturally.
Yeah, I mean
because you're obviously bilingual and bicultural.
Yeah, I mean I was living in Mexico City at the time, and my record label was Mexican, and the whole marketing plan was just to do it in Mexico, and it was important for me to succeed in Mexico first and try just a career there.
Now, do you see yourself composing in both languages as you move forward?
I hope so. I mean, I can't. In the record, there's one song which is in Spanish, and I can't see myself not writing in my native language, and there's beautiful languages, so I would love to keep writing in both.
Now, your English is impeccable, but you're saying Spanish is your native language because that's what you learned first. I mean,
I learned both English and Spanish at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to be fluent in both of them. But I mean, Spanish, it's where I grew up. I grew up in Mexico City, and
¿Eres
that's what
chilanga?
I speak. Yeah, I'm Chilanga.
Oh, no.
And that's where, that's the language that I use when I speak to my parents or talk to my parents, and that is really my it's the language that just reminds me more of home, and it's important to me to keep, and it's a beautiful language. So it's important to me to keep,
of course,
to keep writing in it.
So, what kinds of elements, in terms of the two cultures, what kinds of elements are you keeping from both? Would you say, or do you hold dearest to you from both? Kind of like or do you consider yourself like culturally completamente mexicana, chilanga, or
well, I think
bicultural?
there's I am definitely a bicultural person. I've both I'm very much absorbed a lot of American and English culture. I went to a British school in my life. I've been in the U.S. for a long time now. I'm working fully in the U.S. But there's also a lot of things of not only Mexico but Latin America that I love and that I hold very dear to me. Like we have a certain looseness about us, and I'm very very close to my family, and family to me is still one of the most important things, and friends, and we just have like a more easygoing way of relationship between each other, and Latin America and Mexico is a very rich culture of just everything, of tradition, and Mexico is a surrealist country. It's the surrealist country by by André Breton himself. So it's just great. It's just great to have that and to be a part of that and use that in how I live my life.
Thank you very much, Francisca, for being with us. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you not just here, but also in Chicago, Metro, and Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza is going to be great. I mean, you'll be able to reach so many people with your wonderful music.
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Very excited about
Thank you
that.
so much for having me here.